Hey everyone, today we are going to absolutely nail a topic that the examiners love and honestly is a game changer for your costing paper, activity-based costing. We're doing a full end-to-end revision, every single concept you need to crush this in your exams. Okay, you ready? Let's get right into it. So, let me kick things off with a classic ICAI trap. Imagine your company makes 3 products, right? And one of them, let's call it product C, looks pretty profitable on paper. Management is happy, sales are good. But what if I told you that this so-called profitable product is actually a silent killer, secretly draining your company's profits? It sounds dramatic, but it's a huge trap that comes from using old, outdated costing methods. Today, we're going to learn how to spot it and, more importantly, how to fix it.
All right, first things first, to really get why activity-based costing, or ABC, is so amazing, we first need to master the problem it's trying to solve. So let's pull apart the old-school traditional costing method and see exactly where it all goes wrong.
Okay, look at this table. This is how it's done the old way. See that overhead column? Traditional systems take all those factory overheads, rent, electricity, supervision, the whole shebang, and just smear them across all the products using one single simple rate. Here, they're using direct labor hours. So because product C takes the most labor time, it gets hit with the biggest chunk of overheads. This basically assumes that the longer you spend making something, the more overheads it causes. But is that really true? What about complex machine setups or handling special materials? This oversimplification is what we call cost distortion, and this is exactly where so many marks are lost in the exam.
So, if the old way is broken, what's the solution? Well, this is where activity-based costing makes its grand entrance. And I want you to know, this isn't just a minor fix, it's a whole new way of thinking about where your money is actually going.
And the big idea is right here. ABC totally flips the script. Instead of just dumping overhead costs onto products, it takes a step back and says, wait a minute, products don't actually consume cost directly. Activities consume costs, and then products consume those activities. It's a subtle shift, but it's incredibly powerful. We're not just finding the cost of a product anymore, we're finding the cost of all the work, all the activities that go into making that product.
This diagram shows the flow perfectly. This is the heart of ABC, and it's a 2-stage process. In stage 1, we take those big overhead costs and trace them to specific activities. So, factory rent might get linked to the activity of providing factory space, and a supervisor's salary gets linked to supervising production. Then in stage 2, we take the total cost of each activity and allocate it to our products, the cost objects, based on how much each product actually uses that activity. It just makes sense, right? It's logical, it's accurate, and it gives us a way better picture of reality.
Okay, quick vocabulary lesson. You need to know these terms. An activity is just something you do that costs money, like setting up a machine. A cost pool is just the bucket of money for that one activity. The cost object is the thing we're trying to find the cost of, usually our product. But listen up, because the most critical term here, and I mean absolutely critical, is the cost driver. This is the factor that drives the cost of an activity. For the machine setup activity, the cost driver would be the number of setups. Picking the right cost driver is literally the key to getting the right answer in an ABC problem. Everything hinges on it.
So, let's put them head to head. Traditional costing? It's simple, I'll give it that. But it's often dangerously inaccurate because it uses that one big, sloppy overhead rate. ABC? Yeah, it's more work, it's more complex, but the accuracy you get is on a completely different level. It uses multiple, specific rates for each and every activity. And in today's world, that kind of accuracy isn't just nice to have, it's essential for survival.
Okay, enough with the theory. Let's actually do this. This is where we roll up our sleeves and walk through the exact steps you'll take to solve an ICI problem. We'll start with a super important concept called the cost hierarchy, and then see how it all comes together in the calculations.
Now, before we can start assigning costs, we have to know what kind of activities we're dealing with. This is called the cost hierarchy, and it's a really important concept for exams. Unit-level activities happen for every single item you make. Think machine power. Batch-level activities happen once per batch, like a machine setup. Product-level activities support an entire product line, maybe like a special design cost. And facility-level activities are the ones that just keep the whole factory running, like rent or security. ICAI loves to test your ability to classify these correctly, because if you mess up the level, you'll choose the wrong cost driver. So this is a big deal.
Okay, here we go. This is step 1 of any practical ABC question. This is non-negotiable. You take the total cost in the activity's cost pool, and you divide it by the total volume of its cost driver. So for material handling, we take the total cost 29,100, and divided by the total weight, 38,800 kilos. That gives us a rate of 0.75 rupees per kilogram. We do this for every single activity to get our rates. A word of warning, a small calculation error here will torpedo your entire answer. You have to get these rates right. Always, always double-check this step. And there it is. This is the payoff. This is the aha moment. After we apply our new super accurate activity rates, look at what happens to the costs. Products A and B were actually being overcosted. They were cheaper than we thought. But product C, our profitable product? Whoa. Its real cost is 59 rupees and 13 paise. That is over 10 rupees higher than the old method showed us. It was being massively undercosted. This right here is cost distortion. Think about it. A manager using the old data would have pushed product C hard, thinking it was a winner, when it was actually the problem child. This is why ABC is a complete game changer.
And ABC gives us even more cool insights. Check this out. From illustration 2, the company pays for the capacity to do work worth 5 lakh rupees. But based on what they actually produced, they only used 4,50,000 of that capacity. ABC is smart enough to identify and isolate that 50,000 rupee cost of unused capacity. For a manager, this is pure gold. It's a flashing red light saying, hey, we're paying for stuff we're not using. This can spark really important conversations about how to use that extra capacity or if they should get rid of it.
And don't for a second think ABC is just for factories making widgets. Its principles are universal. Illustration 3 gives us that classic story again. The low-volume, complex product gets undercosted, while the high-volume, simple one gets overcosted. But illustration 4, this one is really important. It shows ABC being used in a bank. A bank! This proves that ABC works just as well for costing services, like different types of bank accounts or loans, as it does for physical products. ICI can throw any industry at you, so be ready for that.
All right, we've wrestled with the numbers and seen how powerful ABC is. Now let's just shift gears for a bit and make sure we have the theory down cold. These points are prime material for your MCQs and short theory questions, so let's lock them in. So when should a company use ABC? This is a super common theory question. Well, it's most useful when overheads are a huge part of your total cost, when you sell a wide variety of different products, and especially when you're in a tough, competitive market where getting your price right is a matter of life and death. And the benefits? They're huge. You get way more accurate product costs, you finally understand what's driving your overheads, you can spot and eliminate wasteful activities, and, well, you just make smarter business decisions. Simple as that.
But let's be real. ABC isn't perfect. It's not a magic bullet. It has its challenges. For one, it can be really expensive and take a long time to set up properly. And finding the perfect cost driver for every single activity, that can be tricky. That's why a successful implementation has to follow a clear set of steps, you know? It starts with getting everyone on board through training, then mapping everything out, identifying the activities and drivers, and then finally doing the cost tracing and assignment.
Getting an accurate cost is amazing, but it's really just the first step. The real magic happens when you start using that information. And this is where ABC grows up from being just a costing technique into a powerful management philosophy.
Okay, let's do this. Quick. Number 1, traditional costing causes cost distortion. Got it. 2, ABC fixes it with activities and cost drivers. 3, you have to know the cost hierarchy, unit, batch, product, facility. 4, the math is a two-step dance. First find the rate, then allocate the cost. 5, ABM is about managing with ABC data. 6, ABB is about budgeting with ABC logic. And finally, number 7, don't forget, ABC is not just for factories. Remember that bank example.
And now for my favorite part. Let's see what actually happens when we use this framework and compare it side by side with the old traditional method. Prepare for the aha moment, and we're using data straight from an ICAI-style practical problem. Okay, so here are the results using the traditional method for 3 products, P, Q, and R. Overheads are just absorbed at a flat rate. Under this system, product P looks like a bargain, right? It's your cheapest product at just 230. But just hold that thought. Now, let's switch over to ABC. We've broken down those overheads into their actual activities, machine costs, setup costs, inspection, purchasing, and we've assigned them using their proper cost drivers. And just look at the result. Product P's cost skyrockets from 230 all the way to 427. It's almost doubled. Meanwhile, product R's cost actually drops from 364 down to 335. This isn't some kind of accounting magic. This is just accuracy. This is the true cost.
And this bar chart just tells the whole story perfectly. It makes the distortion crystal clear.
Product P, which was that low-volume, complex product needing tons of inspections and setups, was being massively subsidized under the old system. Its real cost was completely hidden. And product R, that simple, high-volume product, was being overcharged for overheads it never even used. With ABC, the truth finally comes out.
So, okay, getting an accurate cost is great. But so what? Why does this really matter? It matters because this accurate data becomes the foundation for making smart, strategic management decisions.
And that brings us right to the benefits of ABC, another very common theory question, by the way. First, obviously you get way more accurate product costing. We just saw that in action. This leads to much better decisions on things like pricing and your product mix. It also gives you better cost control because you're no longer trying to manage one big blob of overheads. You're managing the cost of specific activities. And maybe most importantly, it helps you find and eliminate those activities that add cost but add zero value to the customer.
And the power of ABC doesn't stop at just product costing. You can use these same principles to figure out the profitability of individual customers, because believe me, some customers are way more expensive to serve than others. It's a critical tool for target costing, for make-or-buy decisions. The applications are huge. It's an incredibly versatile tool for any smart manager.
So, if you only take one single thing away from our discussion today, let it be this. The real goal of ABC isn't just to move costs around. It's about getting to a much deeper level of understanding. It's about finding out what truly drives your costs so you can actually manage your business more effectively.